¡Órale! Sí, señor. Bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFB podcast. We are live streaming on YouTube. ¿Cómo estamos, primo? Primo Ricky's in the house. Hector's going to join us in a second.
Just a second.
It's just a second. You know, hey, you know what? We're on Latino time, so that this is what happens. Sometimes it's usually you, Ricky, but sometimes me.
It's always me. So.
Pero vamos a ver. Okay, Hector's. Let me add him to the stream. Hector, ¿cómo estás, baby?
I'm good, man. Good, baby.
Oh, life is good. Life is good. Estamos bien. Let me get there we go. We got it. All right. Familia, make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram at Familia FFB, and make sure you're following our YouTube page. We are also on Periscope TV today.
Let's go.
Hector's all pumped up for LA. Look at that LA Dodger, the right behind him in the background. So looking good, Ricky.
The Dodgers. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm wearing kind of blue right now. This is more Bruin blue, but we'll see. But
still repping LA, man. Still repping LA, baby. It's okay.
Also, make sure you're following our FamiliaFFB.com Facebook page as well as our FamiliaFFB.com website. So, primos, Hector,
what's
up? You got an ay.
Oh, do I?
You want to tell us about some ay?
Actually, yes.
For our new listeners, on our Sunday night shows last season, we would always do the different things.
Actually, yes.
And we would talk. I would be the injuries. So, Hector, you had an I. You want to tell us about it?
Man. I'm on IR. Yeah, I can't move the camera. Kind of like, I don't know if I can bring my leg here. I have an ice back, kind of, sort of, you can see. Yeah, I was at my son Dominic's baseball practice yesterday. And at the end, it was the earliest thing to end of practice. We had been practicing for 2 hours.
What do you mean we?
And the very last, well, me and the coach, because I'm like kind of like assistant coach. Some of the dads are like coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like assistant coaches,
like
so we all kind of help out and stuff. Yeah. Me and the other, some of the other dads are like actually coaches. So we're actually like helping out and, you know, help running the kids through drills and stuff. So again, we're there almost 2 hours. It's like 5 minutes before practice is over, and coach is having them run to first base, look to the right as if there was an overthrow, and then run to second. So, and they've done this drill a million times just the same way. I thought it would be, I don't know, in my infinite wisdom, I thought, you know what, I'll go play first, pretend I'm the first baseman, pretend the ball was thrown over my head, and then they look to the fence. So just kind of make it more kind of realistic. So I go over to first base, and I'm sitting there kind of like I'm just kind of doing like a little hop. Like the ball went over my head, they run by, I look at the fence, and then go to second. Well, the second time, one of the kids runs through, I do a hop, and I felt like a golf ball just like jam me right in the cap. And I'm looking around, and it reminded me, remember when Kevin Durant popped his Achilles, and the first thing he did was he turned around and he looked behind him? That's the first thought that came to my mind, because it was the same exact thing. Like I hopped up, like a little, I hopped maybe like, 2 inches off the ground. It was like this silliest thing. It was just the most mundane hop I've probably ever done. And I hopped up just like nothing, and I felt like I got nailed in the calf. And I turned around and look, and I'm looking around like, who threw a ball at me? And then that's when I realized no one threw a ball at me. I just injured myself. And that's when it started hurting. Like the pain crept in. I tried to walk, and I was like, oh, man, this is not good. And so, yeah, I'm on IR for, 10 days, I guess. I don't know.
Now, are you self-diagnosing, or did you actually get seen?
No, I'm not going to go get seen for this. I can put weight on it. I can walk on it pretty well. The pain is like 7 out of 10. Based on WebMD and all the other sites that I've looked at, it's like grade 2 calf strain. Everything kind of points to that direction. Multiple websites have kind of described exactly what I'm feeling, what I felt, and all of them point to the exact same thing as grade 2 calf strain. So consensus is like 6 weeks to get back to like athletic activity. But I mean, it already feels better than yesterday. I can actually kind of, walk around and limp around. I've been icing it. I've been taking, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, like ibuprofen. And just staying off it, man. I'm bummed because I've been doing landscaping. And I think that's what it was. Like my body's just like exhausted. Like every free minute I have, I've been like carrying like.
And you didn't stretch.
And I didn't stretch. But I had already been running around for 2 hours and getting warm, and you know what I'm saying. Like,
but your muscles hadn't done that, because I've done that same exact thing playing softball because I was pitching the whole day. But the second I did a quick motion, I felt that stupid
pop.
How
long did it take you to heal?
Woo. Well, here's the thing. After that, it happened again. So you really have to stay off of it, or it's going to keep happening, and you just got to always stretch it out, or it's going to keep happening. But yeah, I would say 3 to 4 weeks. You're a bit longer in the tooth, but in better shape. So who knows?
Thanks, man.
I'll tell you this.
So walking normally, like walking without a limp, how long will that take? Maybe like a week?
Oh. Yeah, a week.
Maybe hopefully less.
You're gonna start pain, but you need to rice it. You need to rest, ice, 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off, not direct. Compress it. That's gonna be like compression stockings, I guess, or a band.
Or like ace bandage.
Yes, not too tight. You don't want your toes to
turn blue
and then elevate it. Put a pillow under it before bed. That's it. That easy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Keep it up.
The drugs are whatevs. I mean, if you feel like it's swollen, if you can tell, but other than that, keep your liver safe. You're a drinker, so.
All right. Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you what. About 10 years ago, I did the same thing playing basketball. I thought somebody kicked me or something like that. I'm looking around like, what the, and I didn't see anybody within 5 feet of me. And all of a sudden I took a step and I was like, I totally thought blew my Achilles. Thank God, I looked down. There were a couple of things that I did. I actually had a physical therapist look at it, and she said, "Yeah, you got something between a grade 2 and a grade 3." She shows me like this little welt I had on my calf, and she's like, "Yeah, you did a good job on this one." So, yeah, it's gonna take.
Well, luckily, no welt, but there's a bruise. There's like a bruise about maybe 2 inches wide. Or so, but like it's like a line. It's weird. It's like maybe a 1/4 inch wide, but like you know what I'm saying. Like it's weird. It's like a line.
You did it right on the tendon then.
Yep. I tell you what. I don't run anymore. Like jogging for working out. No, just either ride the bike or do some stair climbing, but nothing like running. So yeah,
just can't do quick motions for a while. Can't do quick motions.
I mean, I tell you, it's just somos viejos, primo. Estamos viejos.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, man.
Oh man,
I ain't even halfway through my 30s. Okay.
Hey man, we're young as a team. We're young as a team. We're old as a team. Okay. Get it right.
You got to do it. You got to do it again, Ricky. You got to do it again in your 40s so that you really get.
Hey, but you did it before I did, and it's a sign of ages, right? You popped yours before I popped mine.
No, that's because I was an athlete.
That's because you're
on the field. I was on the field playing. Because I know
you're old.
Do you go out play softball? I don't think so.
When I play softball now, I get. Yeah,
exactly. Who gets injured coaching?
When I play softball now, I get a pinch runner. So I go.
That's like getting fired on your day off, Craig.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Well, hey boys, since Hector's on the IR, we'll let's jump into some cheese man.
Cheese man.
So a couple of things. Antonio Gibson is still dealing with some repercussions, some after effects of his toe injury from back at the latter part of the 2020 season. So they're apparently still feeling it a little bit in there. So one of those things with that injury. I mean, the cool thing is he didn't need surgery, but those injuries just take time until they're gone. So it's a tough one, but on the flip side, Ron Rivera says he expects a big jump from Mr. Gibson. And as we know, Rivera had a dual threat quarterback when he was the head coach down in the Carolinas with Mr. Run CMCs. So, even with the toe injury, you guys still feeling good about Gibson this year?
I mean, yes.
I like Antonio Gibson.
I don't know how high. How high though? Heck.
Since we've been talking about RBBCs and who else is there, in the backfield along with him? I mean, there's nobody else, right? I mean, he's the guy. He's the bell cow.
Well, J.D. McKissick is kind of like the passing.
McKissick, but he's right. But as far as the brunt of the mother load is going to be Gibson, right? I can't imagine that it.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get a lot of work. He'll probably get more work than most other quarterbacks. I mean, running backs on most teams. So I think he's going to get he'll get a lot of touches, and that's what you want.
It's an exciting pickup later, maybe late third if he's still there. But I mean, the injury's scary because toes suck. Because stupid toes mean so much to our balance. This could take him out like 6
and cutting.
I remember Antonio Gates was out forever with turf toe, and so it's a disgusting injury. And hopefully he's all healed up. Hopefully he has no lingering effects. But Gibson, I mean, if he's fully healthy. That's here's the thing, guys. Even though he could maybe be the lead caballo on the team, they're gonna be playing from behind. They got Fitz Magic on there, so that's just how it's gonna be.
How are they gonna be playing from behind? They got that defense that's not gonna give up any points.
If that team gives up 14 points, they're gonna be playing from behind. So
I always worry
about Scary Terry.
I love Scary Terry. Last year he wasn't that great though, and that was with that one dude, Dwayne Haskins.
Oh yeah, but he's not. Fitzpatrick is actually going to throw it deep. So we're going off topic with Gibson. Fitzpatrick's going to throw it deep, and I think McLaurin. That's fitting into McLaurin's game right there. So
Fitzpatrick's not known for making running backs that great.
Yeah, I could see that. Of course, has he had great running backs? That's the other thing. The last few years, like in Miami and in Tampa, he didn't. Yeah, it's not like he had Barry Sanders back there.
It's not like he's got Barry Sanders and Gibson. Get out of here. Next.
All right. Well, let's go to next.
Don't ever bring up LT in a negative manner.
It's not in a negative manner. It's
try to prove me wrong. It's negative.
No, it's actually to make sure that that we're elevating. We're trying to say, it's not like we're talking about LT because we know that he's your 101 of all time. So
yeah, he's right there. Correct.
He's in the he's got a gold jacket to prove it. So vamos a ver. Well, let's go over to New York. The Jets, Los Jets, Jets. So one of the Connor Hughes of the Athletic, who's the beat writer for the Athletic of covering the New York Jets, said that it won't be long before Michael Carter is the lead back for the Jets. And this was something that I kind of put in an article right after the draft is, that all of that was not a good tailback room, not a good running back room. I mean, he's just got to pick, beat out LaMichael Pirine, Josh Adams, Ty Johnson. Obviously, they got Tevin Coleman in there, but so it's not like he's got world beaters. Carter, he's one of the sleepers that I have for this season.
No, not in redraft leagues. It's like they got a lot going on for them. Going wrong, they're still rebuilding. And I don't see them having a running game at all. And even if they do, it's going to be split amongst all these guys. But they're going to be trying to find their passing game this season. And they pretty much know they're in the first year of rebuilding. So I don't see them leaning on the running game, let alone one running back. Just reading the story and looking at it, reads like it's going to be a tragedy in the end or a drama. It's just
Shakespearean
like a TV show I'm not trying to get into, or at least have my, especially for Dynasty, I'm like, he's not my sleeper in Dynasty either.
I don't know if he's a sleeper. I don't know if in Dynasty he's a sleeper. Definitely not in rookie drafts.
He's risky, but we'll see.
But wouldn't you? Well, how about this? Heck, would you take a chance on him as like your third running back or fourth running back? Take him in like the fifth or sixth round?
Yeah,
that's heck, though. That's heck.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted at that point.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, anytime you have, the opportunity to take a lead back, you're going to jump on it, because, there's so many RBBCs, man. There's so much confusion with so many teams. There's, who do I take? Which guy's the guy? If this is one of the opportunities where you have to get to pick someone that, all signs are pointing to be a lead back. Yeah, is your third or fourth running back? Absolutely. Why not?
I'm looking to take a chance. I mean, I got Antonio Gibson last year in the 7th round. I'm not going to say he's going to do what Gibson did, but he's a pass catcher. I think they're going to be playing from behind some because they did not do take care of their defense. He's going to catch some balls. So we're going to see. I don't think he's going to get a lot of a big season like a Gibson did, but I wouldn't be surprised if, a few weeks into the season he starts getting,
Right. Yeah, you never know. Yeah, could be a surprise for sure.
Yeah, probably like in the mid-teens, like 15, 16 touches a game, targets, and rushing attempts. So we'll see. So one last item. Oh,
real quick.
I
asked what time we're recording. You said at happy hour, and I feel like I'm the only one who brought a drink.
Oh, Primo, you're right.
And I was like, this is the only reason I'm going to drink today.
Well, you don't know what's in this bottle.
First live show kickoff, right? With
generally, if I have a bottle of something, it's it has a mix of something. This is more for convenience. You can mix a little bit of tequila with some Perrier lime. Generally, today I'm hopped up on ibuprofen, so I'm trying not to.
Next time I hear happy hour, I'll know it's just the time.
And I'm very unhappy that I'm injured, so generally it would be happy hour.
Even more, you shouldn't drink on your NSAIDs, but
right. Thank you.
That's why I'm saying don't take them.
Ricky, I promise you next time I'll have something. I'll have something good in my hand. So, Primo, cheers to you. Salud.
Yeah, salud to Rick.
Drink up. Gracias, Primo. Gracias for reminding us of the inspiration to start this whole podcast. Now we're live, baby. Live. In vivo.
Generally, I would have a drink in my hand, granted, but again, because of my injury status, that'll be for next show.
Well, let's do our last bit of cheeseman. Jameis Winston, according to Nick Underhill, who's one of the beat writers for the New Orleans Saints, that he's not solidified as the Saints starter as of yet. Granted, we are over 100 days from the start of the season. As of today, it's actually 102 days from September 12th, which is the day that they'll be playing. So a lot of things can still happen between now and then. Right now, if you guys... Primo Mikey Reese. Thank you for the shout out for Hector. Did you see that, Heck?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, getting old sucks, Primo. Getting old sucks. Gracias, baby. Gracias. So hey, who are you guys looking? If you were to do a draft right now, and we did a mock draft the other day. I don't think we ended up grabbing any Saints quarterbacks. Who are you targeting?
I'm targeting.
Who are
Winston.
you saying is the starter?
I'm targeting Jameis Winston.
I'm avoiding the whole team. I
agree. I'm avoiding either Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. I'm not going to draft either one of those. But if the question is, who do I think is going to be the starter? I think it's going to be Jameis Winston. That's just, just
they might do some stupid hybrid quarterback by committee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we touched on that last week. Quarterback by committee. I don't see.
No, they're not going to do that.
Hey, Sean Payton's a mastermind.
Don't say that, George. You don't know.
Hey, he did an onside kick in the Super Bowl to start the second half.
They did like a double flea flicker, and they've done it with each quarterback. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, and you know what? He is the maestro who actually has done an alignment with nobody in the backfield, quarterback, running back, anything. So the thing is, I just always get the feeling of if you've got a committee of two quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. I'm going to say that
they don't have a quarterback.
Well, for me, Jameis did throw 33 touchdowns a couple years ago. So, I mean,
that doesn't count. That was garbage time.
There was a lot of garbage
Blake
time.
Bortles was once a good quarterback too, George.
Shout out to Blake Bortles.
Más una vez.
But here's my take. Here's what I don't see Jameis Winston. I don't see Sean Payton sticking to one guy. They have both of those guys. Taysom Hill played a pretty significant amount of time with Drew Brees as the quarterback.
Yes.
Now, Jameis Winston is clearly not Drew Brees. So if Taysom Hill played a pretty decent amount of time, subbing in and coming in and out with Drew Brees, that number just jumps up pretty significantly if Jameis Winston is the other guy. Right? I mean,
and you make a good point because Drew Brees, I think, took time off both seasons, the last 2 seasons. Yeah. So Hill's had to lead them twice.
Yeah.
So dude's got to know the play chart or whatever the play calling and everything by now.
For sure.
Jameis doesn't seem like the brightest old in the bunch.
He's all the
He's got great athleticism,
man.
Great athleticism, but other than that, this team just looks like I don't know.
His decision making has been suspect for years.
He's just like Fitzmagic. He goes for it too much sometimes.
And they win when teams are like, all right, we're tired of running. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like garbage time.
Was like that.
The best garbage time quarterback.
But yeah, that's Bruce Arians.
Favre was accurate in his gunslinging.
Right.
Yeah, but he did.
Arians
allowed
use Winston. Sean Payton. Sean Payton's a lot more disciplined. There's no way he's going to allow Winston to just throw up picks left and right every game. So I don't running back. I mean, quarterback by committee. I may not be like a 50-50 thing, but I can see like maybe 75-25 or like 60-40. Like I could totally see it. I could see it.
I'm still saying at some point we're going to hear that somebody's going to be the quarterback. I would hazard to guess somewhere around the 3rd week of August. So and the other thing is, you never know. There could be injuries, anything like that. So we'll see.
From a fantasy standpoint, Rick and I are staying away, right, Rick?
Watch me get Kamara in the 2nd round again, and you guys eat it again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, eso no es bueno. Eso no es bueno. So hey, so let's get into la carne, the big part of this show. Yeah, the asada. Let's get sizzling like some carne.
It's like $15 a pound now. You guys seen this? Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend, $15 a pound. Wow.
That's why it's for special occasions. For special occasions.
Yeah, for sure. It's getting up there, man. It's crazy.
So, we're a little more than 3 months, as I mentioned, 102 days away from the start of the NFL season.
100 days, I think, was the meme I saw.
Well, it's 102 days away from the Sunday, so 3 days before. So we're actually 99 days. So it's as good a time as any to start doing some rankings on our shows. And so,
yes,
we're going to start with the quarterback position because everything starts with the quarterback.
That's the diva.
Vámonos. Hey, yeah. So what's going to be very telling is that it's really hard to crack the top 10 QBs without having some rushing upside. So I put together a top 10 list. I'm going to do an article based on our consensus rankings because I know there were a couple guys, actually there's a couple of names that snuck in with you guys that I think was really kind of cool. Ricky, you had Daniel Jones in your top 10 at number 9.
Georgie, spoiler alert! Come on.
Well, we're gonna talk about that. And I'm gonna do a spoiler alert.
Now he's actually number 10. Rodgers, I would put higher, but because of his whole dilemma, he gets the 10th. Because no matter what, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. But because we don't know where he's at, I don't know where to place him. So he could be anywhere, but.
That's true. And heck, you put Ryan Tannehill as your number 4.
Oh my God.
That's going to give Ricky a heart attack.
Man. I know. I love me some Tannehill. You already know. Right? That offense, that offense is finally ready to take off. I'm telling you, he's going to be this year's Josh Allen. He's going to go all the way.
He's going to be last year's Teddy Bridgewater for you.
No, he's ready.
Our faithful listeners to our podcast in the audio format will remember that there was a whole love connection between Hector and the Carolina Panthers, which
my man crush last year, Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. It ended somewhere around week 3 when you cut him in our Familia League. So
we broke up in me. So yeah, that didn't last very long. It was a short.
So let's start. At the top, there was a guy that we all had pretty much as locked in, loaded number one.
Consensus number one.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes. He ended up with 380 fantasy points, averaging 25.4 fantasy points per game, which he played only 15 games. So had he played 16 games, he would have been right up there with the QB1, who we'll talk about in a second. But he had the offseason toe surgery. So everything appears to be, fairly normal with him. Our buen amigo Edwin Porras gave him a good grade that he should be fine by the time the season rolls around. But this kind of, a toe injury, does that slow down his running? He was sneaky out of the backfield. He rushed the ball 62 times. I mean, he threw the ball for 4,700 yards. He was still a stud. Everything is back for him. Kelsey and Hill are back there. The CEH take the second-year jump. He had 9 times where he threw over 300 yards. So
he ran 4 times a game, and you think that's a lot?
That's enough to qualify for the
right? Heck,
code. That's not. Okay, I'm going to tell you. That's not going to. Dígame.
I don't get it. Just the toe surgery, whatever. If anything, it's going to make him be an even bigger danger in the pocket, but he's still going to be elusive. He's a smart guy. I don't think the surgery means anything, to be honest with you. He is who he is, and to me, he's like a Stephon Curry. He's just breaking down stereotypes and making all of us eat it. So buy into it.
That's right. Number one.
Heck, do you like the fact that they pretty much rebuilt the offensive line around him? Because we all were like amazed at how much he was running for his life in the Super Bowl.
I know. No, I mean, I trust Andy Reid. If you've been following NFL enough, you'll know that Andy Reid and company know what they're doing. I think losing, obviously his son not being there, during the Super Bowl, I think was probably a bigger deal than what maybe people may have thought, because obviously that there was like a complete breakdown of the team, it seemed, during that game, and I think that was a part of it. But I think now they've had time to regroup and to rebuild the O-line there. So I think if Andy Reid's doing something, I think that generally I'm going to lean to they're doing something right. So I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. I'm just going to say that I'm better than him at hitting out of the bunker. I saw a video of him and Kelsey golfing, and Mahomes couldn't get out of the bunker. I'm like, come on, man. Really? You're embarrassing us.
Does that make you feel good, Ricky?
Oh, yeah. Just for a moment.
Just for that brief.
Just till I realize I'm watching him. Then I'm like.
Well, let's go to one quarterback, Ricky, that I think, and why don't you take us to him? A guy that you would say qualifies as someone who runs a lot. Now, I will say the Konami code running for quarterbacks is about 60 rushing attempts. So about 4 per game. So that's when they say he's considered a dual threat quarterback in the fantasy industry. But this guy ran a lot more. Dígame that guy.
2 times the amount at 133. I mean, it's Kyler. I was happy to try to get him in a lot of my leagues last season. But let's go over his stats. He was 24.4 fantasy points per game, last year's number 2. I believe he played in all the games, right, Georgie?
Yes, he did.
So,
yes, he did.
Excuse me, hurt his shoulder in week 11. He did slow down the end of the year, but he also played a lot harder defenses. But weeks 15, 16, he would have won the championship. Just 14, he couldn't do me any good. But other than that, he was QB1 until week 11. So it's like, what's going to slow him down? What didn't they do this year? He's already run for 619 yards, 10 TDs by week 11. So the dude was good until he got hurt. I think we're going to see that in Dak Prescott this year, but that's just a little spoiler for later. But to finish with 819 yards, 133 rushes as the quarterback, no matter what, I think that's going to go down a little bit because I think you'll see more of his last season compared to the beginning of last season. You're going to see more of him act like the end of the year. And that's because as they get hit, they just feel like, all right, I don't have to do everything on my feet. But the dude's elusive. He can run to the side and still throw it. He's a baseball player at heart. So he's got a quick throw, an accurate throw, a line drive. So I love him. I don't think he's your number 2, but that's because we have a lot of good quarterbacks. He's my number 3, I believe. But that's because I want to see him get more than 3,971 yards. Yes, that's a lot. But, I mean, there's quarterbacks out there that hit 5,000 yards. So if he wants to be up there, I already know his rushing is going to go down. So let's see if he can get to the 4,500 mark. If he can do that, he's going to be elite, no matter.
That's a jump like Josh Allen last year.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that might happen. It all depends, because if he rushes less, he'll throw more. So what will that mean? And we'll see what defenses do if they're ready for him. But I think he needs to start throwing. He's in a Kingsbury air raid offense. So hopefully, I mean, the dude's good. I like more of his bullet throws than his long passes. But he's got one of the best jump ball guys of all time in DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. All he's got to do is flip it up and boom. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see how he does. See if he can last the full season.
Heck,
I'm looking at my rankings here, and I think I need like a do-over with Kyler. I don't know why. I don't know. I think I might have just copied. I texted you, and I think I don't know. I put him in the wrong.
Yeah, you got him out of the top 10.
Yeah, that doesn't look right at all to me. So let's. I think I'll slide him in there right around maybe between 3 and 4. Aaron Rodgers and Tannehill. So we'll stick him in there.
Yeah, it's hard.
I mean, Kyler Murray is just There's so many great QBs in the top 10. It's a pretty fun challenge to rank them all. But yeah, Kyler Murray, the guy put up some super numbers last year, and again in Kingsbury's high flying offense, I think I'm looking for him to do a lot more the same. And again, DeAndre's still there, and we've added AJ Green and Rondale Moore. Something. Is Fitzgerald still there? The old man in the sea is. Is Fitz still out there in Arizona, or is he gone?
He hasn't re-signed, and he hasn't retired. So he's kind of like in limbo right now. But every news source expects him not to be back. So this is the team that they're going forward with.
All right. But yeah, I expect Kyler Murray to have another great year. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a part of me that really wants to put Kyler at number 1. I think he could have a season where he surpasses 1,000 yards, similar to Lamar Jackson. He did take a big hit in that Seattle game last year in Week 11, which slowed him down the rest of the season. I think I saw.
Yeah, for sure.
I looked up a stat that from week 12 to 17 after his injury, he was the QB 17. So I know he helped you in weeks 15 and 16, but man, that's tough. That's tough coming down. That's brutal. From that. And I still think D-Hop is going to have a big season. I mean, it's just everything is.
He always does, right?
Yeah. And the offensive line is another year older. They kept adding to it, so I think he's going to have time to throw. I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be a good thing. Hector, you want to go to Baltimore?
Go to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, man, our last year number 10. And if we remember, again, going back to the idea that ranking quarterbacks is just so difficult. I mean, some of us, we had Lamar Jackson. He was coming off MVP year. We had him ranked. Many of us had him ranked number 1. A lot of the pundits had him ranked as number 1 last year, and he finished at QB 10. So that just goes to show you challenge of getting these right, ranking QBs, preseason, going through all your stats and what do we think is going to happen. And so, yeah, he was number 10 last year. I am looking for him to definitely rebound. I think he's a lot better than that. He's last year, 159 rushing attempts, 1,005 yards, 7 rushing TDs, 26 passing TDs. I mean, the guy's. It just seems like it was kind of not really sad is not the right word, but it was disappointing to see the potential that he had 2 years ago. And I think it was on Monday Night Football, he had 5 TDs. Oh. You're just thinking to yourself, like, oh my God, this guy, like, he's unstoppable. Like, this is crazy. Hence the number 1 ranking that so many people gave him last year. And then they dropped to number 10. It's like, what exactly happened? I know we've talked about, his weapons weren't, as great as they could have been. And, the running back by committee was kind of a mess, for him to run last year. But I'm looking for him to definitely rebound. They have another year to figure out what they did wrong last year as far as he's concerned. And I think he'll bounce back. I think he's gonna have a great year. And I think, number 3 rank I think is right around the sweet spot for him for this year.
I have him at 4, but he's so iffy because his style usually gets a short shelf life, but also it's one of those where defenses will just be like, all right, we'll stop you from running, so are you gonna just throw it over us or what? And if he can't throw that well, then they're just gonna abuse that. They're gonna have him throw. Before he was really good because they realize when he runs out to the sides or whatever, we give him time, his guys get open. But now they're like, all right, just open up the outsides and have a QB sneak. But
they'll figure something out. They're going to figure something out.
It's very risky. I don't think he's going to get better just because he's better. Like, he needs a lot. He needs to become a better thrower. Honestly, he needs to become a way better thrower so that teams are scared of that. And he needs a steady running game. I don't like his running game.
So you don't
Not
like
him
his
running, but the people running behind him. I hate that.
For a second there,
I hate that running back by committee.
Yeah.
For a second there, I was wondering you had something stronger in that cerveza than just cerveza. Maybe.
Well, who had the most yards on that team rushing? Does anyone know?
I think it was J.K. Dobbins, like around 800. So no 1,000-yard rusher. It wasn't like the year before where they had, the only 1,000-yard rusher was Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, 2005.
This past year.
Yeah, he was the 1,000-yard rusher for them.
2005.
So, I think to me the thing is, I think was he not as good a passer because he didn't have great weapons who got open? I mean, because really, unless
he had great weapons. He had great weapons.
I mean, Hollywood Brown seemed limited. Right. He did. I mean, he seems like more. I think they
passed weapons. I feel like he just caved under pressure. I just don't know what it was.
I think one of the things was after he came back from COVID, he was a stud. He was out for COVID on week 12, and he came back weeks 13 to 17. He averaged 27.7 fantasy points per game. He was QB2 during that time.
Yeah, he was killing it.
And that was only a little bit below his 28.1 fantasy points per game when he was the QB1 in 2019. So that's still in there. I think people are writing him off because he didn't take another step forward. And I mean, I still keep thinking this is the guy that I'm looking for to take that next passing. That next step past the Josh Allen jump. I don't know if it's going to be as pronounced.
That sophomore jump. Now it's going to be a junior jump for him.
Yeah, the junior jump. And this is the 3rd year in this offense. It's his 4th year in the league, but the first year they kind of just built the offense around him, kind of like on the go. But this one, I think, with Rashad Bateman, Tylan Wallace, getting them in the draft, I think that's going to be upgrades to, just more options to kind of, it'll leave it's going to open up the offense a little more. I'm pretty fired up about this offense. I think there's still going to be a run-based offense, but I still think he's going to take a step forward as a passer. And I was very tempted to make him my QB1 overall, but it's Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mahomes a couple years ago, going back to the game when he had 5 TDs and Monday Night Football, just overall that year that he had his MVP year. I mean, I don't remember anyone complaining about Lamar Jackson's passing needs to improve or he's not accurate or you know what I'm saying? Like he was the MVP because he was able to throw well and pass and to run and to do everything better than anybody else in the league, hence the MVP. So, as I said, he goes from this MVP year where he's just like everything's hitting on all cylinders. The team is playing well all together because obviously MVP is partly a team award. But then last year, just taking that big dip. So yeah, I think as you said, George, like was it partly the weapons? I think what he had around him was definitely limited more than it was the year before. But I think this year, as you're saying, they're kind of ramping up, the offense. I think, he'll definitely come back up and then have a good comeback year.
Just a quick shout out. Salud to Papi, Rum Boys, Robbie. Gracias for joining us, my brother, mi hermano. So salud to you. Next time I'm gonna have a drink with you, as I like to on your Rum Boys After Dark.
Rum Boys, yeah.
Vámonos. Yeah.
All right, 2 questions real quick. Who gets more yards next year, Lamar Jackson or one of the running backs on the Ravens?
I wouldn't be shocked if it was Lamar Jackson again. Would not be shocked.
Second question.
Yeah, I would be shocked.
Why is the next person number 4?
Because I just put Dak Prescott. I did put Dak Prescott there because
But these are your top 10? Is that what
this is my top 10. This is my top 10. I will admit, yeah, we needed to get our ranking. We should have gotten all our rankings in a little bit earlier, so I had to take
consensus.
the executive decision. When I put together the article, it'll be our consensus. But Dak Prescott by week 5, he was the QB 2.
I just feel bad for you for the way you're thinking. Like, I feel like you're going to make a bad decision at a draft because of how you rank your players. And I'm worried. I hope you go off the consensus and not off your own. Please go off the consensus.
If
things could change.
If Dak comes back, and he's full power, to your point, I think you were just mentioning it, George.
If Georgia picks Dak before Josh Allen in a draft, I'm going to be like,
no, that would be really hard. Honestly, it'd be really hard.
Now I'm going to force you to, since that's your.
You're going to remind me about this.
I don't think you can force someone to make a pick. You can't force someone to make a pick in a fantasy draft.
The thing with Dak, he was just out of this world. Yes. Those first 5 weeks before he got hurt.
Record setting.
He was going crazy. Bonkers. I think he likely would have had at least 1,000 yard receivers in CD Lamb and Gallup. Mm-hmm. Everything is back. I mean, this is kind of like, I think this is maybe his ceiling as the QB4. I put him in there because there are certain things that need to happen. He still needs to complete his rehab from that gruesome ankle injury. But he's still got the weapons: Cooper, Lamb, Gallup. Blake Jarwin's coming back. He's still got Zeke. Zeke was a major. He was like the RB2, those first 5 weeks of the season. So that was great. A lot of it is based on the offensive line. The yards per attempt is a big one. And would he have been? It was 8.4. That would have been number 2 if he would have done that over the whole season. And I still think that the defensive backfield, the corners are not going to be very good for Dallas. So I think they're going to be in some shootouts. So that's why I think that's why I have Dak up here where he is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, put Dak in a shootout. Again, if he's completely back, rehab. I mean, I would hope that it was just be a continuation of last season because man, I remember those first 5 weeks. It was just like. The guy was just putting on a show. He was just out of his mind, just like putting up numbers. It was pretty incredible to see it. And if he can do that again, then the number 4 ranking would definitely be warranted.
I just don't like the fact that he plays for the Cowboys.
But Ricky, don't you think that?
Right? We know that's why you're poo-pooing.
But don't you think that with that defense, they're going to be running? They're going to be a lot of shootouts.
What?
Their defense is not going to take a big step forward.
Right.
They help the defense some, but their DBs are still going to be basura.
Coming from behind. He's gonna light it up.
He's gonna have to throw to light it up. Well, okay. Who wants Josh Allen? Who wants to? Actually, Hector, you take Josh Allen because
I thought you meant on my team.
After that.
I thought you meant on my team.
Josh Allen. So where do I have him ranked? Let me look at. So these are.
I think you guys both have him number 2.
I have Josh Allen number 2. My man Josh Allen. If Nico was here, he'd be just like bragging about how he picked Josh Allen in the 7th round. I think, as he's prone to remind us. But yeah, if I can get me some Josh Allen, on my fantasy teams next year, I'll be a very happy camper.
So you'll pick Josh Allen over Dak?
Would I do that? I would say I would probably do that. Yeah. Only because the guy was QB1 last year. You got to put him at least in the top 3. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Everyone talks about regression year, and there's no way he can do that again. Why not? I always say, why not? Everyone says he can't, but why not? You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't he even improve upon that? Everyone always says.
I think Gabriel Davis is better than John Brown. So
exactly.
Well, John Brown's gone. Yeah, and
exactly.
John Brown's gone. So yeah, vamos.
I had Manuel Sanders. Manuel Sanders has hands of glue. He may not, as you said, Rick. He may be a little bit long in the tooth, but Emmanuel Sanders.
But he's annoyingly sticky.
Annoyingly consistent. So the guy, he's going to come out and get that quick little, catch over the middle. Quick yards. The guy's, he's Mr. Consistency. Emmanuel Sanders. Over the years, he's going to catch the balls that are anywhere near him. He's going to make the catch. And Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. The guys has shown, people had their questions. Oh, my God, he's on a new team. What's going to happen? Throw that out the window. Stephon Diggs is the man. Josh Allen is the man. And, I have no reason to think that Josh Allen can't do that again. Will he be, I think, number 1 overall this year? No, but I have him at number 2 behind Mahomes. And, I can't wait to see what he does this year. I would be, like I said, I would be very excited if I can get me some Josh Allen on my fantasy squads this year.
Can you see him doing an average of what, like it's a little more than 2 touchdowns a game? So you think he, with 37 touchdowns last year, do you think he could get close to 40 this year? Touchdown passes?
Ricky? We got more games. We got more games, right?
I think in general, yeah. I don't know about touchdown passes.
Why not?
And Ricky, I know you like Zach Moss. But I
like Zach Moss because they were extremely reliant on someone who was a rookie compared to someone that they should have been like, oh, it's Singletary. He can handle our load, which sounds really bad. But they just didn't give Singletary the lead caballo. They kept going to Moss. Right when Moss got back from injury, they went straight back to him. So it's like they want to go to Moss. So it's like might as well put all your money in Moss and stop going in for Singletary. I think Singletary's good, but Moss has just been like a little bit better. But they're going to take whoever's better and make it a lot. So I like Moss way better.
I will say now, do you guys think that that Allen is still the number 1 option in short yardage over Moss and Singletary? Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
8 TDs last year.
Yeah, he had 8 last year. Well, yeah, sure.
You got to think of it like this: 2 yards away from the goal line, it's already 60% run, 40% pass. And then that 60% run is going to be 30% Allen, 30% running back. So either way, he ends up with 70% chance of getting the goal line touches with a pass or a throw. So that's why he's not Dak. He ain't garbage. Sorry.
So okay, Hector, there's one thing.
Sir.
We should all dream of having someone look at us the way Ricky looks at Justin Herbert. Vámonos, primo. Vámonos, primo.
You are exactly right, George. If only. George, Ricky, take us to the promised land.
I'll tell you what. I love him. I love him so much. I don't want to propose yet.
If they had an action figure, Rick would already have a
lot of them. A lot of them. They're on back order.
Someday Ricky's going to have two sons. One's going to be named Justin. The second one's going to be named Herbert.
Exactly.
They're both going to be named Herbie. But 22.9 fantasy points per game, 342 yards a game, I think is what I see.
No, 342 fantasy points. Sorry, fantasy points total.
Either way, he's still got a crap load of yards a game. And he was a rookie. That's what people like. He's the first rookie we're talking about, and we're not going to talk about one for a while again. But I wouldn't put him this high because I feel like there's a what do you call it? A jinx if you do. So I think he's going to be like 10 or 9. But
you got him at 7.
Oh my God. I want someone to look at me the way Georgie's putting him up this high. With potential, I think his potential is number 1, but I'm not going to put him there yet. I'm not going to put him there in my rankings. This dude threw for 4,336 yards last season. That's beastly.
In how many games? In how many games did he play?
15.
15.
Yeah, 15 games.
I know. It took the doctor a whole week to poke the guy in the lungs. Anyways.
Yeah. Let's talk about I'd taken her cap over that.
So you got – and to be honest with you, he looks like he could be a running threat like Josh Allen because he's willing to get nitty-gritty. He had 5 touchdowns, 234 yards, but 55 attempts. That's a lot. The Konami code is 60. So he's almost a dual threat.
Oh, he'll be there. He'll be there. I think
he'd be a dual threat if he had that last game. He'd be at 59, if not 60.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's not my man crush, but I do love the guy. But he's good.
What that crush is, Rick.
I mean, I'm willing to do more than just a crush.
To me,
that is the definition, Rick.
To me, one of the big things about him, he was one of the best passers. He was number 6 when throwing under pressure, and they fixed up their offensive line, so maybe he's not going to have to throw under pressure. And the other indicator for success is throwing from a clean pocket, and he was subpar. He was number 25 in the league. Maybe he was so surprised that he had a clean pocket.
Right.
But they fixed the offensive line. I think that's going to be his biggest area for improvement. I think that's where he's going to take the jump.
And the line changed, not his weapons. So it's not like the adjustment's going to be the line adjusting to him, not the skill players. The skill players already know how fast they can go. He knows how fast they can go, so that's still going to go. Yeah. The ball's still going to move as normal. He just has better time now. The coaches knew, but this dude was an academic All-American, if that means anything in the pros. That just tells me he learns fast, which he already has. I'd hate to kiss up all over this guy just for him to – I'd hate to say screw me later, but yeah, for me to later in the season just leave me dry. And
he'll be fine.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm a season ticket holder. I hope so.
Well, let's go.
I hope he's not a Bortles.
He's not going to be.
Where's your veladora, George? Tell him to let the veladora.
You know what? My mom's.
Look at him. Just look at him. He's just like freaking out over like Justin Herbert possibly like not doing well. Go get your veladora. Which one? San Judas, the patron saint of lost causes, is San Judas. That's what my mom said. So get your veladora.
Maybe the guardian, guardian angel. So that offensive line could be guardian angels around him and let him operate.
Working hard. So.
Vámonos.
Yeah.
Vámonos.
So St. Joseph, we're working hard. St. Jude, so there's not a lost cause, and the guardian angel number 3. So get yourself down to
St. Francis, so no animals attack him.
Yeah, thank you. Please no.
No animals.
There's so many wild animals in down in Huntington Beach or wherever there's down in the OC where they train. All right, we got about 10 minutes, so we're gonna rush through these. Russell Wilson, I got him in number 7. He was 300 plus passing yards 5 of the first 8 games of the season. Then, he was the QB1 after week 8, averaging 30 points, fantasy points per game. And then all of a sudden,
they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I thought so too. And then all of a sudden, the offense just got discombobulated. Their defense got a little better.
Yeah, what happened with that? I mean, Russ was cooking. Everybody was, MVP talk. Russ cooking. Russ is going to be cooking. And, hashtag whatever it was. Let Russ cook, whatever it was.
That offensive line started to take some hits. Yeah, he had 40. He got sacked 47 times. Remember the game against the Rams? I mean, he was running for his life the whole game. Not that that was rare with Aaron Donald back there, but seriously, I mean, I think it's. I'm going to be very interested considering all of the stuff that happened early in the offseason, right after the Super Bowl, kind of the new offensive coordinator coming from the Rams with that, where they like to pass that little timing game. But Russ is still, he's still Russ. I mean, he was the number 6 quarterback last year. He's still got DK Metcalf. He's still got Tyler Lockett. Could he be over number 7?
Olympian DK Metcalf.
Almost Olympian. Could he be past number 7?
He'll be up there. Hopefully he doesn't fall again. I know we're trying to be quick, so I'm just going to say this. Maybe he leads the league in his MVP like Aaron Rodgers, and then leaves pissed off just like Aaron Rodgers, because that's what it looks like. He's not happy there. They don't give a F about what he thinks. They got him his weapons. They're not going to get him any protection. So it's like Russ ain't happy. So QBs are divas. He's probably going to leave soon, so they're probably already getting ready for the weapons for the next quarterback. Who knows? Maybe it's Rodgers. All I know is Russell Wilson's always a solid pick.
Yeah.
But he's always middle of it. He's like 6 or 7.
Agreed. And he has Metcalf. He has Metcalf and Lockett. So, I mean, knowing the competitor that he is, he's still going to go out there and bust his butt to try to win and do the best that he can. But to your point, Rick, if they're not going to help him out and beef up the O-line, and if he's going to be running for his life every single week, at some point you're just going to be like, what's the point, So I guess we'll see.
So let's go to number 8. We all had Matthew Stafford in the, and down in the bottom portion. He's the first non-running quarterback. He only ran the ball 28 times last year.
First pure quarterback.
But look at him as, I look at him just with the potential of being unlocked by the McVay offense.
How many games did he play last season?
He played all 16.
I think he'll get 45 yards, maybe 30 touchdowns. He's got to get more touchdowns than that. He doesn't have the tight end, but he's got such great weapons.
Absolutely. I was just going to say the same exact thing. He's moving up from like a JV squad that he had, Kenny G was hurt, and he kind of got a raw deal. I drafted him. I thought that was going to be, like Aaron Rodgers to Devontae, that kind of thing. But it never materialized, and he kind of got a raw deal. So Matt Stafford had a mediocre year, but not for his own fault, just because he was on the Lions, right? But now he's in the Rams, and he's got Cooper Kupp, he's got Robert Woods. That's a massive, massive leap forward in weapons. So I look for him to.
Got Akers and a team that's dedicated to the run, and that is good for him.
Good. Great for him. It's going to open up those shots with Deshaun Jackson and Tutu Atwell.
Like Moses in the Red Sea, man. Like it's all going to open up there. He's going to find Kupp in the woods. It's going to be great.
I think this is going to be a fun offense to watch, and I think Stafford's going to be playing as a Capitan back there. He's going to be, he's kind of like the game maker. And Kevin Modesti from the LA Daily News called him kind of like a grandmaster of the quarterback position. And I did a little looking at like his yards per attempt. If he would have duplicated the number of attempts that the Rams threw last year, and he had his yards per attempt of 7.7, which he's hit multiple times, he'd be at 4,829 yards in a 17-game season. So, Woods and Kupp are a big.
They had to throw that much because they're behind, but
Well, I will say, and their offensive line is a big upgrade from what he's had in Detroit, where he had to run for his life a lot. So Aaron Rodgers, boys. So let's say he stays.
Top 10 quarterback.
I have him ranked number 3 overall. I have him ranked high number 3. He's the guy. So I don't know if it's league MVP and then you take a dip the following year, because we talked about Lamar Jackson earlier. When he wins the MVP, then the next year he regress. I don't think Aaron Rodgers can do that. Aaron Rodgers. Yes, there's a soap opera that's going on right now with Green Bay, but wherever he ends up, the novella, big time. Wherever he ends up, the guy's just a super competitor. No matter once he steps between those lines and he's on that field, the guy has like the death stare to everybody. His own teammates too. You know what I mean? The guy's just like, he's a consummate professional. Do your job, do it right, and let's get out there and win. And I don't give a crap what anybody says. That's Aaron Rodgers. So no matter what team he's on. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it, and he wants to win, and that's all. That's how he's just wired. He just wants to win and beat the crap out of you, whoever you are, whoever his opponent is. He wants to beat the living daylights out of you. So he's gonna do it no matter where he's at. If he's in Seattle or if he's in Denver, wherever the hell he is, he's gonna be fine.
He's an MVP. He does owe it to Green Bay. I mean, I know they just got a new coach last year. He got MVP last year. If he leaves, he's obviously gonna have the deck stacked against him. But either way, it's like he's like the Tom Brady 10 years pre. So just not as many Super Bowls because he's going against the Tom Brady. So just a little different for him. But he's golden no matter what. It just depends where he goes.
And he was incredible. He was incredible from a clean pocket with a 128.3 passer rating, even when he was in the red zone, because he threw a lot of those, short yardage touchdowns to Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, that back shoulder to Devontae, man, it's like automatic. That back left corner, you know what I'm talking about. That
he's
back
amazing.
Left.
He's amazing.
It's coming, and he still does it. It's nuts.
I don't
Garbage
think
number 10, by the way.
Sorry, we shall see. We shall see. Well, you know what? There's a lot of okay. Let's talk about that one. So what? The last thing. The only thing that concerns me about Rodgers and staying in Green Bay is the fact that the offensive line, they lost their center, the All-Pro center Corey Linsley, going to
Chargers.
Yes, and then their All-Pro left tackle David Bakhtiari tore his ACL at the end of the season, so he's going to be not likely to be coming back early enough. So
he must be Hector's age.
He's pretty close. But okay, so Jalen Hurts, Ricky says he's basura. You don't think he could be?
I don't say he's basura, but top like
the number 10.
I know like this is. You're picking him off ceiling. I go off average for everybody. And yeah, if Hurts does his ceiling, of course, but come on, man. There's so many. Burrow, you don't think Burrow's gonna do better than this guy if Burrow plays all season?
I don't think Burrow's gonna run as much.
Because you say Konami code during this?
No, I don't think he's gonna run enough to be a top 10 threat. I think he'll be good.
You don't think Hurts is going to run 60 times this year?
No, I think Hurts is going to run as much as Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to run. I think he's going to run a lot. I think he's going to be around 1,000. I think he's going to threaten 1,000 yards rushing. He looked like Lamar Jackson at certain points in those games.
I agree. And he was. I remember just watching him, and I just remember being impressed by Jalen Hurts. Like, you know what? This guy's the real deal. This guy's good, and he's
doesn't take much to impress you, Heck.
Thanks, Rick.
You're a little league coach. I know what impresses you.
George and I agree that he was impressive. So it's 2 against 1. So toma.
The one thing that does worry me a little bit is very young wide receiver core with the 2 lead Caballo receivers being Devonta Smith, a rookie, and Jalen Reagor, who's going to be a number 2, a second-year guy.
I'm excited for Devonta Smith.
What happened to Jeffrey?
I don't think he's signed. He's a free. I think he's still
played
free agent.
The past 2 years. Anyways.
He hasn't played hard. He hasn't. I don't think he's played much since they won the Super Bowl. So, I think this one's kind of like I put this one in there because I knew there might be a little bit of an argument for us. So it's good. It's good. I love this. I think
there's always an argument.
I mean, I looked at yes, SOC. I did average out like his passing yards from those 3 games where he started and finished the game. Because remember, week 17, he got benched like partway through the second half.
Right.
And he'd have been 4,800 passing yards.
Exactly.
And so in 17 games, in 17 complete games, and 28 touchdowns, and 1,348 rush yards.
So
I'm not saying he's going to do that. No, these are small sample size into a 17-game season. So that's big.
You just got to look at the situation. You're going to make all these people goo gaga. It's like, they're not going to let the leash off that much next season, especially after he takes a couple of hits. It's just like, Georgie, stop. You're leading our viewers in the wrong direction. But it's fine. I'm going to try to get him in my dynasty league. But okay.
Justin Herbert came in and blew it up after 1 year. Jalen Hurts already has a year under his belt.
That's Justin Herbert, thank you.
So you got Ricardo. You got 2 months until we get like into fantasy draft season in early August. So you got 2 months to change my mind. So I love it. I love it. Plenty. They more arguments.
And my mind too, because I'm right there with you, George. I like Jalen Hurts. I like.
Let's have lots of Jalen Hurts arguments. It's gonna be good. We're gonna cut these up and put them on Twitter and see the arguments that are happening. It's gonna be. Let's go. But for now, primos, eso es todo for our first live stream. Gracias YouTube and Periscope TV for being on there, letting us on there.
Eso todos for our show.
Eso es todo for our show. So thanks again to Anchor for being our hosting network for the podcast and for making sure Independent Podcast gets out to the Familia community. Again, thank you to YouTube. And please make sure you subscribe at YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, audio format. Make sure to find original content at familiaffb.com. I'm going to have articles coming out about the in conjunction with our Beat Writer series. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at familiaffb. Hector, where do they find you?
What the heck? To tease.
Ricardo.
Ricky Torres TV.
And you find me at Jorge Martin 17. Don't forget to like us on Facebook too. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Gracias, everybody. And remember, todos somos familia.
Adios, amigos.
Salud.